So if we go back to gold, this is the extreme that we've just had last couple of months in terms of panic in the gold market. Let me show you what's happening in the gold charts. So this is my usual daily, weekly and monthly charts using the better indicators. I've kept better sine wave to show you that below the price bars on the monthly chart. There's a reason for that. So let's first recap the collapse in the gold price, and let's look at the weekly chart first of all. We had our euphoric high here in 2011 with exhaustion buying, blue professional bars on better momentum and better pro-am. We then kind of had a sell-off with a Rambo pattern here. We bounced off the Rambo pattern. It was actually a small little pullback to end of trend move on this weekly chart. We came back into the highs at 1800 with blue professional bars kind of come in, retested again, and each time we came back we had bearish divergence coming in and weak professional up bars taking profits, getting short, ready for the next kind of move. Then we came up to this really important 1600 cyclical support area. This was the one that I was looking to get broken to the downside, and when we broke to the downside you can see blue professional bar kind of falling through there. That's falling through the ice, coming back to that little blue professional zone here, and then falling again, and we've now ended up with exhaustion selling on the downside that's mirroring the exhaustion buying that we had into the peak. We've also got blue professional bars kind of coming in at the lows here. This was a 20% decline from the highs to the 1600 level, and then from the 1600 level down to kind of the 1300 level was another 20% decline in gold. This break point, when you get this happening on a couple of different time frames, they become really powerful trend moves. So we had support here just above 1600 on the weekly chart, and if we go to the daily chart we had exactly the same thing. We'd broken the support level kind of initially, and then this is the second time we broke it again with blue professional bars falling through that support level there into a downtrend where we got continuation, another break on the daily chart here. Now at these kind of levels, so on the daily chart, on the weekly chart, what I'm seeing is exhaustion selling on the downside and a left shoulder being made with that kind of pro signal exit. We often get that blue professional bars, extreme selling, blue kind of signal for pro signal exit as a left shoulder from which we bounce. If that's also associated on the lower time frames, the daily chart, with an end of trend signal, here you can see pullback to end of trend, where we've gone back up into a weak rally, back up into 1500, amateur bars at the high here, come back down into this kind of 1350 type level, and the professionals have come back in on the daily chart and kind of picked it up, absorbed that selling volume back down at 1350. So we've got extreme selling on the weekly chart, exhaustion selling here, blue professional bars, pro signal exit. We got a pullback to end of trend sequence, testing. We've had our bullish divergence kind of come in. It wasn't a flush pattern here, but it was another kind of deeper divergence pattern, not unlike a flush pattern here at these lows. It also is syncing up with a potential cyclical support on the monthly chart here, and this is why I've kept on better sine wave below the price bars here to show you that. This has been lining up for a few months, but we need price confirmation when this kind of goes off. We're still probably a little bit, a month or two early in terms of getting price confirmation on this chart, on the monthly chart, but they're starting to line up. When you have a trend move syncing up with the cycle move on the higher time frame here, that potentially can turn into an area where we'll get a little bit of reversal. It's going to be a left shoulder on the weekly chart. The downtrend is not over, because what I'm saying is we're going to go from a left shoulder here to a pullback and a downtrend signal on the weekly chart. But it's an area where we've reached some kind of exhaustion, and as you can read from the trends chart on Google, the gold price here with an index value of 100 has panicked out a lot of the amateurs. A lot of the selling that's taking place is kind of weak hands, getting out of positions and being absorbed by players who have a longer time view. So they're seeing the 1300s type level as a good place to kind of come in and acquire, and then it's also historically a place where we bounced. Resistance becomes support on the monthly chart. It's a price point around which we could get some strength kind of coming back into the market as the pros kind of absorb the selling that's happening in the 1300s. So just look for that over the next few months. We could find some strength in gold, but all we're doing is we're going back to make a cyclical resistance. There'll be a pullback and a downtrend on the weekly chart, somewhere between where we are today, and the breakdown level kind of 1600. It's a big kind of area to move into, but we'll see it when we get the better sine wave starting to cross over on the weekly chart. that'll be a place where we've reached some kind of resistance on the upside, and we'll have another kind of test back down into the lows. So for the next couple of weeks, what I'm going to be interested to see if we get kind of amateur bars kind of heading back down as the market starts to strengthen. Any dips I want to see happening on amateur down bars kind of going forward. We've had quite a lot of blue professional bars kind of coming at the lows here. We've had the last amateur bars were kind of buying this breakout, thinking that that was a spike down and the gold market was going to reverse. The next thing I want to see going forward is amateur down bars as we kind of test into this region, and then as soon as we start breaking above a cyclical resistance on the daily chart, that'll take us into trend moves on these lower time frames. So remember, look for cyclical support and resistance on these kind of lower time frames, the daily and weekly chart. When they line up together and you start to get breaks together, that takes us into a strong trend moves. And remember, you can always use tools like the Google Trends tool to measure that kind of market panic and euphoria. And then wait, after we've seen panic and euphoria, you've got to wait months, several months, for the market to digest. We've had that kind of period for the gold market where it's all kind of gone quiet. Everybody's moved on to different things. We're all talking about the Japanese stock market, Abenomics, Japanese bonds, the yen, and so on. So gold market's gone a little bit quiet. Look for some testing over the next couple of weeks down into those lows, and then we might set ourselves up for a little bit of a trend move, a retrace move back into this kind of zone on the weekly chart. Okay, there we go. A little bit of a longer video, but I hope that was useful to you, and I hope you're enjoying your weekend.